My mother's hand didn't just slap my face. It slapped the last bit of respect I still had for her. The music stopped. Guests froze. My cheek burned. And my parents stared at me like I had ruined the wedding. Not the fact that they tried to take the only thing I worked for in my entire life. It started 20 minutes earlier. My sister, Grace, was glowing in her wedding gown. Beautiful, spoiled, and painfully aware of it. I had barely stepped inside the venue when my mother grabbed my arm with the urgency of a soldier dragging someone from a battlefield. "Come with me. Now." Dad followed behind her, face stiff, the way he always looked when he planned to demand something from me. They pulled me into a side room, shut the door, and turned on me like I was a servant they could summon at will. Dad didn't waste time. "We need your penthouse." I blinked. "What?" Mom crossed her arms. "Your sister and her husband will be moving in. They need a stable place to start their marriage. Your penthouse is perfect." I almost laughed. "You mean my penthouse? The one I bought with my money? My savings? The place I worked for 10 years to afford?" Mom rolled her eyes. "And what will you do with it? Live alone like a sad little spinster? Stop being selfish." Dad added, "It's time you start contributing to this family. Grace deserves comfort." Grace. Always Grace. The golden child, the princess, the son they expected me to orbit. I felt that familiar ache. The ache of being the forgotten daughter, the backup child, the one expected to sacrifice quietly while Grace collected all the good things in life. I steadied my voice. "I'm not giving you my penthouse." Mom's eyebrows shot up. "I wasn't asking." "Well," I said calmly, "I'm still saying no." The room went silent. I could see it, the offense, the disbelief, the rage forming in their eyes. Dad stepped closer. "You live too luxuriously anyway. You owe us. We paid for your food growing up. That penthouse exists because we raised you." Mom poked my shoulder. "You think you're better than us now? Better than your sister?" I didn't react. Their words hurt, but they didn't surprise me. Grace walked in then, pretending she hadn't been listening behind the door. "Sis, come on," she said sweetly. "You should be happy for me. I deserve the best. And you don't even have a husband or kids. You don't need that place." I stared at all of them. Grace in her wedding gown. Mom in her controlling rage. Dad in his entitled expectation. Something inside me broke. Quietly, cleanly, permanently. "No," I repeated. "I'm keeping it." Mom's nostrils flared. "If you walk out of this room without handing over that penthouse, don't call yourself my daughter." I breathed slowly. "Then I won't." Then Mom raised her hand. And slapped me. Hard. Gasps echoed from the hallway. Someone had seen it. Someone had heard everything. I didn't raise my hand. I didn't cry. I didn't move. I just looked at her. Cold. Silent. Unshaken. Then I walked away. Out of the room. Through the shocked faces. Past the ceremony. Past the decorations. Past the life they tried to trap me in. I heard Mom shouting behind me. "Come back. We are not done." "No," I thought. "You are." And that moment, leaving the wedding with a red cheek and an iron heart, was the moment my silence turned into revenge. A kind of revenge they would never see coming. A calm, patient, terrifying kind. I thought the slap was the worst part, but it was only the beginning. I didn't attend the rest of Grace's wedding. They tried calling. I didn't answer. For the first time, I chose myself over their manipulation. And it felt powerful. 2 days later, Dad called again. "We've decided to move into your penthouse." I almost dropped my phone. "You what?" "We're already packing," he continued. "Don't make this difficult. We've sacrificed too much for you." I took a deep breath. "Dad, I'm not giving you anything." Mom grabbed the phone. "You think you're the hero? You embarrassed us at the wedding. Now fix it. Give us the penthouse." I hung up. For weeks, they harassed me. Calls, messages, threats, emotional blackmail. "You owe us. We gave birth to you. Grace is struggling. Why won't you help your own sister? You're ungrateful. You're selfish. You've changed." Yes, I had changed. Because I finally saw them for who they were. I focused on myself, my job, my business investments, my personal growth. I started therapy, learned boundaries, learned how to say no, learned how to stay silent when silence hurts more than yelling. Then, one day, I got a call from an unknown number. It was Grace. Her voice was trembling. Mom and Dad took a loan for my wedding. A big one. They thought Michael's family would help, but they didn't. Now they're in trouble. Trouble. Debt. Stress. And suddenly their plan made sense. They didn't want my penthouse for Grace. They wanted to sell it. Grace kept speaking. They might lose the house. I stayed calm. I'm sorry you're going through this. Grace sniffled. Can you help? Please? Mom is crying every night. I knew she expected money. She expected me to rescue them like I always did. But I didn't answer. And the silence made her panic. Are you there? Yes. And she pushed. I didn't say anything more. I simply ended the call. My silence was my revenge. Days passed. They grew desperate. Mom finally came to my door. When I opened it, she looked small. Broken. Not the woman who slapped me, but the woman collapsing under the weight of her own decisions. She whispered, I'm sorry, but I could tell. It wasn't real remorse. It was fear. Fear of losing what I could give them. I need you, she said. We need you. Inside, something cold settled. Something controlled. I know. And then I shut the door gently in her face. Not slamming. Not yelling. Just shutting. Soft. Silent. Final. That was the day they realized the truth. I wasn't the weak daughter anymore. I wasn't their backup plan. I wasn't their property. I was the woman they pushed away, and now desperately needed. My silent revenge was working. 3 months later, their situation grew worse. They couldn't pay the wedding loan. Dad's business started failing. Grace's husband had already begun showing his true colors. Mom was sick from stress. The house was at risk. And finally, they invited me over. Not to demand. Not to scold. Not to control. But to beg. I walked into the living room where all three were waiting. Dad stood first. Thank you for coming. Mom couldn't look at me. Grace whispered. I'm sorry. I didn't respond. Dad took a deep breath. We treated you badly. At the wedding. Before the wedding. For years. Mom's voice shook. I shouldn't have slapped you. I stared at her. It was the first time she had ever apologized for anything. Grace stepped closer. You've built a life we can't even imagine. You're strong. You're successful. And we're ashamed of how we treated you. I let them speak. All of them. Their regrets. Their excuses. Their desperation. When they were done, the room went silent. I spoke slowly, calmly, powerfully. I worked for everything I have. You never helped me. You never appreciated me. You never respected me. Mom wiped her eyes. But I'm not here to punish you, I continued. And I'm not here to save you either. They froze. I sat down. For the first time in my life, I know my worth. And I will not give anything I built to people who hurt me. Dad swallowed hard. So you won't help us? I'll help with advice, I said. Not money. Not property. Not sacrifice. Their faces fell. But if you want a relationship with me, I added, it will be on my terms. No demands. No comparisons. No insults. Grace nodded. We understand. I stood to leave. Dad whispered, will you come back more often? I paused at the door. I'll come back, I said softly. But not as the daughter you controlled. As the woman you underestimated. Mom cried quietly. Grace whispered, you're stronger than all of us. I looked at them one last time. I didn't lose a family in this process, I said. I lost the expectations that suffocated me. And then I walked out. Into my life. My freedom. My success. My peace. No penthouse was taken from me. No dignity was taken from me. I took myself back. I didn't lose a family. I gained myself. If you were in my place, what would you do? Tell me in the comments, and please subscribe to our channel.